if we can. So good afternoon, ladies. Welcome to our May PWG meeting. I almost said June. I've been planning the month ahead all day long, so I'm a little confused as to where we are. But welcome. I am so glad that you are all here with us today. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to read our mission statement. Miss Amara, if we can put it on. All right. So, the Professional Women's Group mission statement. The PWG comes together to network, encourage, support, and inspire each other to thrive in the workplace and in life. We are committed to creating a welcoming environment where we refrain from judgment. We treat each other with dignity and mutual respect. We are open to the possibilities and ready to have fun. Woohoo! All right, so we are going to have is still no Irina? Irina going once? She might have gotten caught up in work, so that's okay. So we are going to do our breakout sessions where you get to meet some of the other ladies and have a little conversation. And the question for your breakout room is, if you can have any new skill instantly, what would you choose to have? All right. And so, Amara, if you can take us to breakout room.
one of I am one of the Dress for Success ambassadors. And tonight I have the honor to introduce to you our first guest speaker, Lacey Mayer Huff, is the manager of recruitment and admissions for Activate. She has 7 years of experience in higher education and marketing, where she has helped students on the path to achieving their academic and professional goals. She recruits candidates for open job opportunities with Activate's employer partners in healthcare, business services, banking, finance, IT, and skilled trades. And she coaches Activate candidates on job search strategies, resumes, cover letters, and interview skills. She and her husband live in Westminster with their 2 kids and 2 dogs. Please help me welcome Miss Lacey.
Good evening, everyone. So great to see you all tonight. And I'm just so encouraged that you show up together to rally and support, encourage one another in your professional development and growth as well. Again, my name is Lacey, and I am the manager of recruitment and admissions for Activate Work. And we are a recruitment and coaching agency that really exists to activate individuals to their fullest potential through the dignity of work. And we really specialize in helping great and talented individuals connect to quality career path opportunities to land that professional job and keep that professional job, and ultimately to become upwardly mobile. And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight, is some strategies around how to become a top performing employee, the type of employee employers are looking for, who they want to not only hire, but who they want to promote. So I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna talk through that tonight, but I want to invite participation, engagement, if you're comfortable sharing out loud, or if you want to add some things in the chat box. Would love to have interaction from everyone. So first, as we talk about what employers want, if you put yourself in the shoes of a hiring manager, recruiter, or you're the boss, you're the employer, what type of employee do you want on your team? And this is where I'm going to invite participation.
Honest.
Honesty, great. Again, you can put it in the chat box.
Motivated.
Motivated, absolutely.
Reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Self-starter.
Self-starter, work ethic, integrity. That's all important.
Yes, yes, yes.
Professional.
Professional, yes. Responsible, integrity, dedicated. Yep. All very good things. All very good words. In the career development space, right, when you're job searching or you're interviewing, we're all really good at saying those words, but what does that actually mean? And what does that look like on the job to become that type of employee that exemplifies those characteristics? And what does it look like to, when you're in an interview, for any of those of you here that might be job searching and in the interview stages, how does that come out in an interview that you can demonstrate that you have all of those characteristics? Tonight, we're going to, go ahead.
I was going to give my 2 cents. Go
yes,
ahead.
Please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think what qualities they're looking for are people who know, acknowledge, and accept the job duties that come with the job, do it in its entirety, and do a good job at it, and detail oriented as well as responsible. And that's pretty good, I think, right there.
All wonderful answers. And maybe you've been in a leadership role before. It sounds like you know exactly the type of employees that are going to be the best employees on a team that are contributing the most. Tonight, we're going to talk about these top characteristics, which many of the things that you all mentioned are kind of encapsulated in this as well. Growth mindset, adaptability, being a team player, positivity, grit, goal orientation, and work ethic. If you have these characteristics and you exemplify these on the job, employers will love you. They will want to keep you. You'll keep your job. They'll want to promote you, but you'll also be happier on the job. You'll be more engaged in your work and more fulfilled in that work.
And can I just put my 2 cents in again? It's really,
Absolutely.
it's wonderful to have those qualities and be able to show that, but it's really hard on some people like myself when people aren't feeling the same way. They don't have the same work ethic. They don't do their job, and it falls on you, and it's very frustrating and hard to deal with a closed mouth.
Yes, we maybe all been there in some circumstance or another. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we kind of talk about being a team player, how we can be a team player, but maybe we can talk a little bit more as well about, how do you be a team player when other people aren't accountable?
I think that's true what she's saying, but I also believe that also makes you stand out more.
I think so too.
When you're stepping up and you're being proactive, you're learning your job, you're doing it well, and you see what needs to be done and you take care of it, I think that is also gives you the spotlight or perhaps the arena for potential for promotion, because you don't slack and you don't do what everybody else is not doing.
Absolutely. Let's dig into each of these a little bit more so we can kind of further that conversation around, like, what does that look like? How does that set you apart, and so forth. And as we go through as well, I'm going to talk about this both on the job, and then if you were interviewing for a job, how this might come out in some questions that they'll ask you and how you can position yourself to demonstrate these qualities in an interview. First, we're going to talk about growth mindset. Who's heard that word before, or that phrase? Those 2 words. Probably almost all of you, right? It seems like it's become a very ubiquitous phrase that many people have heard and are using. And it was really coined by Carol Dweck. And maybe some of you have seen her TED Talk or even read the book Mindset, which I love and fully advocate for both, and would have loved to have more time to fully watch some of these talks tonight. But she says, in a growth mindset, challenges are exciting rather than threatening. So rather than thinking, I'm going to reveal my weaknesses, you say, wow, here's a chance to grow. So she talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And I would say all of us at times fall into the fixed mindset category. We might think somebody's attacking hurting my pride, my ability to do my work, or they're questioning some piece of my identity or my core. And so I feel defensive about that. Or you might say, well, it's too late in my life for me to learn that skill or to pick that up. I loved in our breakout sessions when we just talked about what skill could you have, and how Gloria said, she's picking up singing lessons. How amazing is that? Because many of us think, okay, I'm either a singer or I'm not. I'm not going to take singing lessons, especially when I'm a middle-aged adult. But perhaps to Gloria for that growth mindset, because at any point in our lives, if we want to pick up and learn a skill, we can do that with a growth mindset if we have that mentality. So what does that look like on the job? How do you develop and cultivate this growth mindset? First,
please put yourself on mute, ladies.
So, and again, I'd love for anybody to chime in here of how you've been able to kind of cultivate this growth mindset at work. Because if you can put yourself in these shoes, you'll come across as being more humble, more coachable as well. Again, what employers and managers are looking for. So it's important that we take notes, that we're curious. We always ask questions. How can we learn? How can we grow in each situation? Understand kind of the why behind things as well. Ask for feedback. Ask, how am I doing? What could I have done differently? How can I get better? If you're someone that's asking for feedback regularly, whether from your supervisor, your coworkers, you'll get some tough feedback at times where people might tell you the honest truth. So you have to be prepared to listen and hear it well. But you'll get that opportunity for growth. And you can use that criticism for opportunities. So take that criticism lightly. Don't let that hurt your own self-image. It might hurt your pride a little bit, but don't let it hurt your self-image. And then also create learning goals. What do you want to learn this year? What skills do you want to acquire this year? What can you learn that will help you to do your job better? Develop a growth mindset. So some questions. How might that show up in an interview when an employer, recruiter, hiring manager is trying to understand, is this person coachable? Is this person going to be able to put on that growth mindset? So some of the questions they might ask, what are some ways that you can improve in your work? You might have heard this, like, what have your supervisors told you that you can do to improve? What would you like to learn over the next year? Or how about tell me about a time when you faced a problem that you didn't know how to solve, or when you didn't feel competent enough for a task. These are some questions of how they might show up, but there might be different variations of that as well. And what's important is that you show self-awareness of opportunities where you do have room for growth and how you want to grow. When you're kind of self-aware and humble, that will be enticing to employers or hiring managers. I can absolutely tell you that when I'm interviewing people, that strengths and weakness question, or phrased in some sense like that, right? You're not just trying to frame that weakness as a positive. It's like, do you genuinely have self-awareness about how you can grow? That doesn't mean, fully bashing yourself on everything that you've done or how you feel like you're terrible, but saying, I can be better in this area and here's how I'm working on it. So being real with that. We're going to move on to positivity, but I want to open the floor. Anybody have any other thoughts on growth mindset?
To be innovative, to bring new ideas to the table that might be beneficial. I'm always looking for ways to make things better, whether it's at home or at work or just anywhere. And maybe they're good and maybe they aren't, but maybe they're worth entertaining,
Absolutely.
I think if you're also a good listener at work and you know how to follow instruction and or just listen to what it is that they're asking, what their needs are, and their goals. I think that's a huge asset, is to be a good listener and be open-minded to receive input or tips of how to optimize whatever your tasks are to reach their goals and the end result that they're asking for or looking for.
Right.
Absolutely. So how about positivity? I like this quote from John Maxwell, who wrote a book called The Difference Maker, where he's talking about attitude. He says it's easy to have a great attitude when things are going our way. It's when difficult challenges rise before us that the attitude becomes the difference maker. Employers are looking for someone with a positive attitude, the type of energy that they can bring to a team that's going to encourage others and lift others up, right? Who wants to hire a negative Nancy or a Debbie Downer? And I apologize if anybody in here is Nancy or Debbie. I don't know why we've coined those names, but looking for positive people. And that's not just putting on a positive front and being negative inside your own head either. It's important that we keep that positive attitude. So how do we do that? And even to what I think it was Melissa was saying earlier about whenever your teammates aren't holding up their end of the deal, when things are getting tough at work, we're having not just a hard day, but hard week, or we're just like really frustrated with the way things are going. How do you keep a positive attitude in order to keep your momentum up at work, to stay engaged, and to keep moving forward? So first, challenging those negative thoughts when they enter your mind, when they're festering there and you're feeding them and giving them opportunities to grow, realize when you're doing that. And again, we all do this, right? We all get to that point. Looking for the positive, finding ways to show gratitude, or thinking, just having that gratitude journal even daily can be very helpful to kind of keep focused on what is good, what is going well, what you're doing well at work, instead of self-sabotaging with negative self-talk. That literally can be the form that like crushes your spirit at work, is your own self-talk more than anything. So focusing on the big picture, sometimes our negativity is also focused on the small things, the mundane or the day-to-day, and things that are going wrong or things that are challenging or that just plain suck. And instead just focusing on the bigger picture and what's not only what's going well, but the bigger mission, the bigger vision, and the purpose that you're working towards. Accepting mistakes when you make them and quickly being able to move forward. Associating with positive people. You notice when you're around people that are venting and that are frustrated or complaining, that quickly also seeps into your own mind or seeps into your own spirit, and you become that person as well. Being able to cut off, whether it's like cutting off that conversation with people about negative things, or just frankly telling them, look, I can't be in that negative space right now. I need positivity. Will help you. Additionally, in keeping that positive attitude, practicing self-care, whether that's taking a walk over lunch, taking your dog out, taking a long shower in the middle of the afternoon, if that's what it takes, whatever it is. Well, since we work from home, many of us work from home now. Can't do that when we're in the office, I guess. But also practicing gratitude, like I already mentioned. So positive attitude. Again, sometimes in interviews, it goes beyond saying, I'm a happy person, I'm positive, I bring energy, but what are the ways that you can show that you have done that, or you can do that you bring that joy and that energy to a team? So how about some of these questions? Tell me about a time when you dealt with a difficult customer or a difficult coworker. Can you give me an example of how you had to deal with conflict in the workplace? Has anyone ever not dealt with conflict in the workplace? Some of us handle it better than others, right? But we learn from those experiences. How have you added to a positive work culture in the past? These are some of the ways those questions might come up, where you can give examples of how are you positive? How do you exemplify that attitude? What are some other questions, thoughts from some of you that you would add to the list?
I would say following policy and procedure, because it creates bad morale when those things are not done. It creates just a negative atmosphere in my mind. I could be wrong, but to me, it just deteriorates.
Absolutely. And sometimes being positive doesn't mean glossing over some things that are happening that shouldn't be happening or bad and like that need to be addressed. So sometimes
Right.
you do have to take that to HR.
Right.
And that's even being a team player,
Right.
I think this is Sophia talking. Sorry, I'm nursing, so I didn't put my video on. But I think that the positive attitude can go hand in hand with the growth mindset, as far as having a positive attitude. So, for example, if somebody's venting and sympathizing with that venting, because we've all dealt with like difficult customers or had a rough day, as far as things, and maybe sympathize and make a lighthearted joke, change the redirect the conversation by finding something in what they're saying to agree with, make a lighthearted joke about it, and then say, well, what can we do, or what's the bright side of it, depending on the situation. Either what can we do about it, or what's the bright side about it.
Absolutely. We're all going to have frustrations, so we don't have to like be 100% on high all the time, right? But it's when those times come, how do we get back to that equilibrium, get back to that happy place, right? To be the better version of ourselves. We're all better when we're more happy and joyful, right? So adaptability. What does adaptability really mean? Some of you have already talked a bit about adaptability, I think.
Being flexible, I think.
Absolutely.
Dealing well with
adapting to the situation.
Yes.
Blending.
If 2020 taught us anything, it taught us to be how to be adaptable, right?
Yes.
Because all of our plans or all of the visions that we thought we had were just crushed. But that is what it means to be adaptable, is that sometimes the vision, the strategy has to change for the organization. And how quickly can you change or can you pivot with that, is what it means to be adaptable. And here, Garrison Wynn, a motivational speaker as well, and leadership speaker, says action and adaptability create opportunity. Also in 2020, we kind of learned quickly how organizations that could pivot and could change their strategy quite quickly and get their organizations and their teams on board were able to thrive through the chaos of the year. Organizations that were like kind of stuck and paralyzed, that we're thinking we're just going to ride out the storm and it'll only be a few weeks or it'll only be a couple months, are here now a year and a half later on the brink of complete failure if they haven't already had to file bankruptcy or close their doors or whatever it is. So adaptability is critical for organizations. It's also critical for employees, that we adapt well to change when change comes our way. So it's being flexible. It's really getting on that moving train of change within the organization. So some ways that we can adapt well to change. To learn a new system, learn a new technology, whether it was Zoom or it was Microsoft Teams or it's, you know, a new SharePoint system or something or other, right? So seek opportunities to learn a new skill. Again, growth mindset here as well contributes to your adaptability. Practice active listening. Someone mentioned that earlier as well. This goes into adaptability because if we can listen and truly understand, we'll be more apt and agile to move along with that change. But again, when change happens and maybe you don't understand it, you're not fully on board, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to understand the why. So it's okay to, in a sense, challenge leadership, but not in a resistant kind of way, but like challenge, what's the purpose? What's the why? Help us understand. Because the sooner you can understand, the sooner you can get on board and be bought into that change. The sooner that you can buy into that change, the sooner you can maybe help other people around you as well adapt and acclimate to that change. Then you can embrace those initiatives, and you can pitch ideas for improvement. I think it was Gidget that said innovation. Yes, bring innovation to the table. Employers do want that, ideas and maybe things that gap areas or opportunities that they haven't seen or they have seen, but like you're able to put more meat behind the to those bones of that idea and help them strategize. I love that. And ultimately, again, look to the end goal. Look to what is this going to accomplish for the organization? How will this help you and your job ultimately down the line? Because nobody makes changes just for the sake of change and making things more difficult on employees, right? So employers want to know how adaptable you are when they're hiring, when they're interviewing. How can you demonstrate your adaptability? I want you to think back and think about some examples and some opportunities where you've had to flex this muscle, even if it was challenging and hard. Tell me about a time when you were very stressed or overwhelmed, because in those moments, you've got to be adaptable. You've got to figure out how to prioritize or how to move past that. Can you give me an example of a time when your job responsibilities or systems were changed and what steps you took to adapt to that situation? Again, maybe it's technology, maybe it was downsizing a department, maybe it was merging a department, or you were asked to take on a new assignment or project that you had never done before, and they said, this is yours now. Whatever that example was, that will show and demonstrate your adaptability. Tell me about a time when you saw an opportunity for an organization to implement a new change or initiative. I also like what if questions, or if you can train your mind to think, what if ... what if we did this? Or what if this happened, what would we do? What if a pandemic suddenly hit and the whole world was shut down? I don't think anybody might have had that on their what if, back in 2019. But what if a competitor entered our market that significantly reduced your workload or your ability to meet your goals? How would you handle that? Some ways that might come across that you can demonstrate adaptability. Again, you might not have these questions, but you'll have some type of version of question maybe where they're trying to understand your adaptability. Anyone have any examples of how you had to flex that muscle?
This is Sophia talking in the industry that I'm in. The laws and everything's pretty much just starting. So I do business banking for the marijuana industry, and it's rapidly changing because we were the first ones. Our company was the first one to do it, and we had to do everything manually. But as the industry is growing, there's not going to be any way for anybody to handle this manually. The amount of workload that it's going to be for any financial institution to take on more than a few clients. And so we've been developing software. Well, not me. I don't know anything about IT. I'm more of a paper and pencil kind of girl, but the software that is going to be used to automate a lot of these things is being developed. And so I've had to adapt to the changes of how to accept documentation. And even though it's not always my preferred way that, just email me the document, or, just dealing with Adobe and email and using that new software, which is eventually going to make things smoother, but also not being too proud to tell my clients like, hey, I'm new at this. But then it's valuable to the employer as well, because a lot of times the employer comes up with procedures that they think are excellent. And when they come up with it, it sounds like a great idea, but then we're the ones doing the work. So we're the ones who actually have the eyes to see how it's implemented and how it affects the client and all of that. And if we give our feedback in a positive way on how it actually works on the ground, then they can improve their systems. But I have to be flexible enough to try out the new things and to keep going with it, so that way we can develop it better.
That is a fantastic example. Thank you, Sophia. That is a really great example. It's also important to note that when we're in the midst of that change, it's hard and it's messy, or we're being stretched in ways that we don't really want to be stretched. But notice as you come through on the other end, you're stronger for it, and you have built up that muscle, and you can demonstrate how you grew through that and your adaptability as a result. And now you're more prone and able to manage additional situations where you're required to adapt. We've got more examples in the chat, exactly of how you've had to change your processes and what you're doing now. And even how this has kind of saved jobs in a sense, right? So let's talk about teamwork. Everybody wants team players. Notice how all of these feed into each other as well. You want kind of this full package. So what does it mean to be a great team player? Adam Grant is also one of my favorite speakers and authors. Some really great topics that he talks about, but he also did a TED Talk on teamwork. And he says, every time we interact with another person at work, we have a choice to make. Do we try to claim as much value as we can, or contribute value without worrying about what we receive in return? I would say that's like the essence of being a team player right there, is supporting one another without the expectation that they have to do something for us, even though that's our human nature many times, right? He also, in his TED Talk, which I recommend if you want to write all these down, and I can send out the video links as well, talks about the example of the Miami Heat, and when LeBron joined the Heat, and they had all these star players, and they thought they were going to immediately win all of these championships, but soon they realized that they needed more contributing key contributors that will come in and make the people around them better. We don't all have to be stars. Sometimes we're called to contribute to those around us, to support them and offer our input, collaboration that will help make them better. So tangible, practical ways that we can all be better team players. Here's some examples. Respect the boundaries of your position. Stay in your lane. What do I mean by that? How many of you maybe ever been really frustrated, discouraged, offended when someone comes in and tries to do your work for you or tell you how to do your work? That's frustrating, right? So respecting the boundaries of others as well. Asking for input or collaboration, similar to a growth mindset or asking for feedback, be prepared to receive it well. Ask for ideas and input and utilize that, those contributions. Hold yourself accountable. Yes, you're accountable to your boss and to your organization, but you should be most accountable to yourself, to your own integrity, and to your work. Don't blame shift. No one likes someone who's going to constantly shift blame off to other people and make excuses, right? Own your work, own your outcomes. Be willing to take on added responsibilities when needed. Similarly, offer support to others when they need it. When you notice someone that's drowning, they need help, they need support, maybe offer to take on a task for them. And respect everyone. That should go without saying, right? But get to know them personally. This is even harder in this virtual world, but like, what are their kids' names? What are their dogs' names? What do they like to do on the weekends? Like, get to know them as a person, as a human being, so that you can better respect and appreciate them in work as well. That way they're not just kind of another person at work, right? But they have more personality, and you can connect with them. You have that relationship with them. And encourage others and celebrate their wins. I think I saw that in the chat earlier as well. Genuinely celebrate the wins of others and when they're doing great things. That brings others up and makes you a likable person in the office. So questions in an interview: how would your previous supervisors or coworkers describe you? Many times I hear people say, they would say I'm a team player. That is fantastic, but what does that mean? How were you a team player? So the more that you can give ideas, examples around this, like, I'm the type of person who brings cookies for everybody on their birthday, or I am the type of person that, sends a good get well card or something like that when they're feeling sick. How about tell me about a time when you made a mistake on the job? Are you accountable? Do you own your own mistakes? How do you like to receive feedback? These are some of the ways people can understand, how are you a team player? And then we're going to get into grit and work ethic. So I know I feel like I'm running behind on time, but I just want to ask for any input here on team players and teamwork in general.
Yeah, I think as far as teamwork is concerned, I think that is what most employers want. They want a cooperative, cohesive team that will work together to achieve whatever goals or tasks that they need done or that they're trying to do. To me, team, TEAM, really means together everyone achieves more. So, because it's everybody together, you can't do everything yourself. You need others to help you as part of the team to do and accomplish what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you contribute to that? How do you add to the team culture, right? We talk about culture fit. It's not really about culture fit. It's about culture add as well. What do you add? Your uniqueness that you can bring as well. So let's talk about grit. Another great word we've all been hearing a lot lately, because Angela Duckworth has done a lot of research and work around grit, both in the areas of education and the workplace, and in general in our lives. Like, what separates people that are successful from people that quit or that fall behind is grit. She says, grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future day in and day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future reality. Grit is living like it's a marathon, not a sprint. In other words, when things are really, really tough and you really want to give up, when you don't think you can keep going anymore, when you just want to show up and quit and not even put a 2 weeks notice in, grit is showing up anyway. Grit is when you've been through a really challenging situation. Maybe it's a divorce, maybe it was cancer treatments, maybe it's a loss of a loved one, and you went through that really terrible season, but you still gritted it out every day to be the best version of yourself and to get better. So how do you demonstrate grit and perseverance? Because that's a really hard word to kind of truly define. And what does that look like, right? It's kind of an abstract concept, it might seem. So grit is challenging yourself, maybe challenging yourself beyond what you think you can do, beyond your own comfort zone. Demonstrating grit is rehearsing your why and your purpose. Again, we've talked about it before, but going big picture, when things are really tough in the present and in the smaller scale, go big picture. Why are you here? What's your purpose? What are you achieving? Even if that's putting food on the table for your family, right? And that's why you're showing up to work that day, then rehearse that why and remember that's why you're there. Check in with your feelings, see past the present, bounce back from failure, and don't be afraid of it. Grit is not being afraid to fail, but being able to bounce back pretty quickly and working through that discomfort. The grittier people are more likely to be successful because they're not afraid of failure, and because they're going to be more adaptable to seeing opportunities for change when they do fail. And ultimately, they're going to find that success. So some questions to consider that demonstrate grit. Why do you want this job? You might be wondering, like, how does that demonstrate grit? But your why, if you have a compelling why on why you want that job, that'll demonstrate that you have kind of that mindset and that vision for where you want to go, and you're more likely to get through the challenging times because you have a compelling why. Tell me about a time where you failed at something. What did you learn? How did you bounce back? Give a good example there. What is your proudest accomplishment or most difficult challenge that you've overcome in your life? Again, that in itself will demonstrate your grit when you have a good example of how you have overcome something that was really challenging. Anyone want to share their own example of grit?
Really, no one?
Because grit is one of my favorites when you find someone that has grit, someone that,
I can share a story if you'd like.
please do.
When Amra and I did the move from 1510 High Street, where we were on Colfax and High, over to South Colorado Boulevard, we had a moving company that at the 2 days before backed out from helping us. And so it was in the middle of the summer. The moving company did not show up. We couldn't get another one booked. And so it took Amra and I, we had some interns that kind of helped out, but we moved everything to the new office, and we had to clean the old office. And it was like a week-long process, and everything that could have gone wrong did. everything, including us moving into a new space, and the people that had been there before even pulled out the telephone cords from the from the wall, so we couldn't get phone service. I know that there was one time that she and I were sitting down at the old place, and we were hungry, we were thirsty, we were tired, we were sweating and stinky. And we looked at each other and we both wanted to cry, but we were too dehydrated. But we did it.
And that is grit. And you're both here.
And we're both here still.
That's funny.
That is amazing and an excellent example.
Mm.
So we're gonna speed through some of the next ones, and then we'll leave more time here at the end because I just want to make sure I don't go over here. But we're going to talk about setting goals. We've all heard kind of the statistic that people that write down their goals are more likely to achieve them. The highest performing employees are those that are goal driven, goal oriented. I like this concept of OKRs. That means objectives and key results, which John Doerr talks about in his TED Talk, and he's got some other talks as well. He says, ideas are easy. Execution is everything. It takes a team to win. So really it's having the goal, which might be your idea of what you want to accomplish, but then how do you execute? What are you going to achieve? And that really leads into setting SMART goals. We've all probably heard of SMART goals. They are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And so start by writing down your goals, both maybe some of your short-term goals, your longer-term goals, your small goals, your big goals, your personal, your work goals, all of it. Write them all down. Even if you have 30 goals, but don't focus on 30 goals. Start to prioritize and break those down. What's most important to you right now? What would make the biggest difference if you could accomplish X goal? Focus on one or maybe two goals, and then maybe come back to the others. So prioritize them. Set deadlines. Maybe break those larger goals into mini goals. That might be a daily goal that leads up to your big goal. Get an accountability partner, or maybe a few. Tell it to your friend, your spouse, your coworker, your boss, whoever it is. Share, because then the more likely you share it, the more accountable you are to yourself, because you've already spoken out into the universe, right? And then, like I said, start small, build those daily goals, those daily habits, and focus on getting 1% better each day. Another speaker I really love and is James Clear, who talks more about habits. Forming habits are the keys to actually getting us closer to our goals, because it's not about just setting the goals, but it's the daily execution and the activity that gets us closer to those goals. So check out some of his talks as well, while you're binging on TED Talks and things. So how do we talk about goals in our interviews? Are you driven towards goals, right? And this doesn't mean that you need to be like a salesperson that's like all about the numbers and all about hitting quotas and things like that. But employers want to see that that you're accountable to your goals, that you're driven, right, to accomplishing those, because that also adds to your productivity. So what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? You've probably been asked that for sure in an interview before. Or where do you want to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now? How do you hold yourself accountable to your goals? Do you write them down? Do you set deadlines? How often do you check back on them, right? The more that you can be specific around setting your goals, the more employers will believe that you actually have them. Many people will say, oh yeah, I have goals, I'm goal oriented, but how do you prove that you actually have goals? Tell me how you manage your time and your tasks to help you progress towards your goals. Your goals can really then define how you structure your time and what you spend your time on. Because if you don't have those bigger goals, then you're really letting your time kind of just pass reactively instead of being proactive towards accomplishing those goals. Lastly, we're going to talk about work ethic. And so I have a quote from the great late Kobe Bryant, who was known as one of the hardest workers out on the court. He says, "Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses." Work ethic. If you think of someone who has really, really good work ethic, what do you think of? Amon,
Someone,
is that a hand raise?
Someone who's dedicated. This is Myrna.
Someone who's dedicated. Yep.
I think of, I mean, even some, well, it's not small, but may sound small, but even someone who actually comes into work every day. I know of people who they don't call out, their whole year, but that's a strong work ethic when you just show up.
Yes. Show up. It's as simple as that. Being dependable, resilience, focused.
People
Mhm.
that do their best every day, no matter how they're feeling or what's going on at home or whatever their situation is, but coming with their 100% game, just making it happen, doing their work, making every minute count, and optimizing that time to make a difference.
Another example is being quick to be accountable for mistakes or admit your mistakes, and also quick to share the credit whenever something is done well.
Yes.
That's yeah. That's
All
important.
really great and absolutely right. Like showing up, giving your best, being 100% engaged. It doesn't necessarily mean putting in the most hours, because someone can put in 70 hours a week, but not be the most engaged or not be there present 100%. But if you're there present, you are a team player and you are really focused on delivering your best work and getting better every day, that's work ethic. It's managing your time effectively, not wasting your time, definitely showing up on time, definitely being there every day, not, no show, no call, no showing, and things like that. It's being honest and having integrity in every situation. It's showing humility, putting forth quality work, being responsible, accountable to your own performance, and staying focused on excellence by minimizing distractions. It is outworking everyone else, but not just again by, labor and hours on the clock. It's outworking them by how much you're using your mind and your skill sets and bringing your full self to work every day. So work ethic, again, this shows up with how many times have you taken off, without a planned absence, without there being an emergency or something, of course. But it also can show up like this. Tell me about a time when you had to own a mistake that you made. What does work ethic mean to you? And how does this show up in your work, and explaining those things? Or you're assigned a really big project with a short deadline. What do you do to make sure it's done well and on time? It's basically earning trust of your employers and your supervisors. How much do they trust you? If you don't have work ethic, they will not trust you. If you have work ethic, you earn their trust. And that's also where all of us want to be in our work. We all want to be trusted and valued, appreciated. And this is where it starts, is with work ethic. So we talked about a lot of things, and a lot of things that you all mentioned from the beginning, nothing new or revolutionary, but these are all the habits and the skills, the mindsets that we have to cultivate on a daily basis, sometimes remind ourselves of when things get really tough at work, so that we can come back, ground ourselves, and to get better again, 1% better every day, that we can stay engaged, stay positive. And when we can develop these skills, continue to flex these muscles, and demonstrate these traits, we will not only win the interview, we can stay engaged at work, be more productive at work, earn opportunities for advancement, which in turn then helps us increase economic mobility, right? The longer you stay in a job, the more experience that you gain. And if you can stay 1, 2, and even 3 years beyond, we'd all love to see even further tenure. You're building that up on your resume to have opportunities for advancement within that company or within other companies. And that's what we all hope to achieve. I think a common goal and mission for all of us is to be better than we were yesterday and to be the best version of ourselves at work, which helps us to be better versions of ourselves in all areas of our lives as well.
Mhm.
Any final thoughts, questions? And then I want to share a little bit about Activate, what we do, and how we might be able to support you in your next steps.
Thank you. That was an amazing presentation. This is Elisha, by the way. I
Thank
learned
you,
a lot.
Alicia. Thank you.
Okay, so we're getting another outstanding and thank you from the chat, from Teresa. All right.
Well, thank you all again for having me. This is really so much fun for me. It truly is. And love being with all of you tonight. If you are in the stage where you are searching for a job and you're looking to connect to great employment opportunities, full-time, full benefits, you want a place where you can grow, that's where Activate really helps people. Our mission, again, is economic freedom through the dignity of work. We recruit talented individuals that have these skills that I just described, that have work ethic, motivation, grit, initiative, follow through, all of these traits. When we recognize that they're like the dream employee for the employer partners that we work with. We work with employers in healthcare, in business, in IT, in banking and finance, and skilled trades. Companies like Denver Health, SCL Health, First Bank, KeyBank. We work with Aero Electronics, many others, to recruit people for their entry to middle level skills positions. We go through a screening process and help kind of identify the skills and strengths of each candidate to put them forth and match them to the best roles. And then we go directly to that recruiter, that hiring manager, to advocate on behalf of our candidates and say they're a great person for this position and here's why. That employer goes through their hiring process, and if offered the position, you're on full-time permanent role with that employer. So we are not a staffing agency, but you're hired by that employer. But then we provide 12 months of professional coaching on the job, again, to help you to become upwardly mobile and really to advance your economic mobility, just like we talked about. So all of these things, how do they play out in your day-to-day job? You have a coach to walk alongside you in that when things are getting tough or you are feeling like this sucks and I don't know if this is where I want to be, to really help you kind of back that out into a high level thinking. And so you have that support system in place for you. And this doesn't cost your candidates anything. This is no cost to you. This is paid for through employer fees. As well, we have Activate IT powered by Perscolis, which is an IT training program. It's tuition-free, 12 to 15-week boot camps to help people get the skills and certifications they need to launch into entry-level IT careers. So if maybe you've been toying with that idea of pursuing an IT career, we can support you with that as well. So if you want to reach out to me and learn more and ask questions, I'll put my information in the chat as well. But here's our website is activatework.com for direct job placement. And from there, you can also find our IT training.
Okay, there's some questions in the chat. Do you work with men?
Yes, we do work with both men and women. Do we work with persons with disabilities? Yes, absolutely. In many of our organizations, we again try to find the positions going to be best fit for you, and organizations that we work with will work with persons with disabilities as well. Again, we're looking for full-time, full benefit for our jobs. I'm trying to see if I missed any other questions. Any other questions? Yes,
Do
we
you
work
guys,
with,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
No,
Do you
go ahead.
work with felons?
Yes. In fact, I would say that we even specialize in that because what we're really seeking to do is help people that have experienced barriers or challenges to employment, whatever that might be, including incarceration, those that have been justice involved, to help them overcome that barrier and find employers that are open to working with them and help them find the right positions as well.
Good.
And do you guys work with the school districts at all?
We do, yeah. So you need to be at least 18, but for someone coming out, we look for those that have high school diploma or GED as well. Simply because many of the employers that we work with are looking for that minimum requirement. There's not a ton of jobs that we have available that don't require a high school diploma. Do you have to work full time? Yes, most of the jobs that we have right now are full time, and part of the reason why we look for that as well is because we want to make sure that all of our candidates have access to benefits, and because we see that that makes a big difference in economic freedom and that financial security, as well as having access to good benefits.
Do you have any remote work, or is it all like on location?
That's a good question. Obviously, most of healthcare is on location. There are maybe some opportunities more going to be oriented around like customer support or sales that could be remote. Many are going to be in person or, returning to the office soon here as COVID restrictions are lifting.
Yes. Yes, and so I understand that there are a few other questions. And Lacey, can you put your information on the chat?
Absolutely.
So that they can go ahead and reach out for the ones that have questions. Also, Lacey did a workshop that you can find on our YouTube channel where she talks about Activate in detail of the things that are available. It's really, really great. This is like a very holistic approach to employment. And so we absolutely love this model. And, please feel free to also look at that YouTube workshop if you have more questions, and then you can reach out to Lacey. But we do have to move on to our next presenter. Lacey, thank you so much for coming. You were awesome. Great information. And Miss Iman?
So, and now I have the honor to introduce to you Kelly with Spark the Change Colorado. Please help me welcome Kelly.
Gloria, at this time, we don't have Kelly in attendance. Let's go ahead and move to our next presenter.
Absolutely. So if you can help me welcome Miss Vanessa Roman with Advanced EDU.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Vanessa. I am the head of outreach at Advance EDU, and we are a nonprofit in Denver helping Coloradans earn their college degrees. And so I know I only have about 10 minutes, but I want to do just a quick presentation. I'm going to share my screen really quickly and just go through a few slides to introduce you to our program. Feel free to type some questions in the chat if you have them. I know I did a presentation a while back, I think in December, to this group. And so sorry if this is a review, but we do have some exciting updates. So again, we are a nonprofit and we're a hybrid college. We're actually Denver's first hybrid college. So here is just kind of an introductory visual on what a hybrid college is. So hybrid college means that the classes are online through our program, through university partners like Southern New Hampshire University and CSU Global, but we also have in-person support. We have a space in downtown Denver, our co-learning campus, which you can see in my background here, where students come to physically get support there. There's a lot of support that we offer, which I'll talk more about in a moment, but this is what hybrid means: online degrees, in-person support. And again, our degrees are through our accredited nonprofit university partners. We only partner with accredited nonprofit colleges, which results in a really supportive, flexible, and affordable educational experience for our students. Let me make sure I can see the chat here. I see there's things popping up. Unfortunately, not able to see it. I'm not sure why, but I'll get to some questions here in a moment.
I can go ahead and share. Do you do graduate level degrees?
We do not. We only offer associates and bachelor's degrees.
Okay.
So here are our degree pathways. I'll go through these really quickly. We have 4 pathways that we offer, and you can think of these as a 2+2 program. So you would be a great candidate.
I am so sorry. I'm not able to see your screen.
No.
Is that just me or?
No, it's everybody.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We can't see anything. Yeah.
Let me try again. Sorry, y'all.
No, it's okay.
Can we see now?
Yes.
All right, great. So here are our degree pathways. We have 4 of them. Like I said, business, healthcare management, technology, and human services. We offer associate's and bachelor's degrees. You would be a good candidate for us if you want to start just fresh in an associate's degree, or if you already have an associate's or close to one and want to begin your bachelor's degree coursework. If you want to start at the beginning at an associate's degree, it's a kind of a 2+2 program. Let's say you want to do business. You do 2 years in the associates in general studies, and then another 2 years wrapping up your bachelor's degrees. And that's how all of these work. Again, our degrees are through Southern New Hampshire University and CSU Global. So just quickly, the way that our programs are different than a more traditional college, the schedule, it's very flexible. So if you have a job, if you work, or if you have a family that you care for, you're able to still go to class, to school and get your degree around your schedule rather than having a strict course schedule that you have to stick to. The courses are different. So rather than having tests and lectures like you might at a traditional school, you have projects. It's project-based or competency-based learning. They're real-world projects that you would do in the real world anyway. And so it's very different than any other coursework that's offered here in Colorado. And the grading, at a more traditional college, you kind of have A through F grades, but with Advanced EDU, the grading is mastery. So either you master your project and move on to the next one, or you get a not yet on it, and you just have to fix what you need to fix. So you never actually fail. You have an unlimited number of attempts to get your projects right. And the 4th thing that's different is the support. So at a more traditional school, there's a lot of great support there, but it can be hard to navigate sometimes, especially if you're short on time, if you're busy. With us, you have your very own personalized success coach that's going to help you through your degree. And that person is going to help you not only through your degree, but also into your career. So we offer paid internships as well as job placement. And so that career coaching is important, as well as all of these other supports, wraparound supports. Childcare, free childcare is offered at our downtown Denver co-learning space, free transportation. We cover the cost of your laptop or technology that you need, meals and snacks, and mental health support. All of that important stuff to help you complete your degree. And that's offered again at our space in downtown Denver. The idea is you come to our campus to do your schoolwork for about 12 hours per week. So that's the basics. Just a quick note on cost. Our cost of tuition per year is $6,400. So very comparable to what you'd pay at a community college, no books, no additional fees. Most of our students don't pay anything at all because most of them qualify for the full Pell Grant. And so actually a lot of our students are getting refunds now because the Pell Grant is actually more than the cost of our tuition. This is a very, very affordable degree program. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen rather than, because I know I'm short on time here, but I'm going to see if I have any questions. Okay, looks like everyone was just affirming that I was sharing my screen. Great. And finally, I'll just say that the admissions process is fairly simple. We only require a high school diploma or GED to be admitted. You need to be able to spend 12 hours per week in person at our downtown Denver campus, and you need to live in the Denver metro region in order to get there. So it's very simple. If you are interested, I am going to pop in the chat here our website so that you can visit. I'm also going to put my email in here so that you can email me with any questions that you have. And what we'll do is you can submit the application online. We'll follow up with an advising call where we'll talk about whether or not this is a good fit for you. And then we'll get you enrolled if you want to. Our next term, our next enrollment term starts on July 19th. And if you want to enroll, I just need to know by June 18th. So June 18th is the deadline for a July enrollment start. And we have terms that start every couple of months. So I'd love to take any questions if you have any.
Do you have to be a resident of Denver for a length of time?
No, not at all. Nope, you just need to be living in the Denver metro region just in order to get downtown fairly easily.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. So if you're thinking that it's time to start or restart that degree, we would love to talk to you more about it. Again, our whole thing is trying to get a flexible degree programs that are affordable for Denver students. So we're just trying to close all the gaps that are out there in higher education. So
Thank you.
Any other questions, ladies?
can someone with a graduate degree sign up for a whole new path? You could, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about that. It just depends on how different the path is from what you previously did. It may just make sense for you to go for another graduate program, but I'd be happy to talk to you more about that if you'd like to schedule a phone call with me.
I can do that.
What is your phone number?
The phone number?
What is your phone? Yes, ma'am, because I don't have access to the chat.
Okay. Phone number is 303-527-4214. And you can call or text me.
Okay, awesome.
And I see Kimberly's question here. Does human services include social working? Yes, it does. Yeah. Human services is a great degree path for a lot of careers, including social work or teaching. Those are kind of the top two pathways for that.
I'm signing up for a master's degree with Colorado Springs University. And I'm applying for the for grant and scholarship. Is this program the same as the one I'm doing, or it is different?
It's different. It sounds like you're applying for a master's degree.
Yes.
We only offer undergraduate degrees, associate and bachelor's degrees.
Okay. Other certifications, other certifications, just regular certifications for work.
We do offer certifications in healthcare management, and we offer several technology certifications as well through CSU Global. We offer computer science, IT operations, and cybersecurity certification. Have our requirements changed since we presented last? No, the big changes for us are that we now have transfer agreements with the community college system in Colorado and Metro State University. So if you come to us and you decide that you're just going to get your associate's degree with us and then go somewhere else for a bachelor's degree, that is great. You can go to Metro now to complete your bachelor's. And we also, like I said, we can transfer you to community college system as well. So those are the big changes. Also, question about my contact information. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and my phone number is 303-527-4214. Yeah, and the question about, I do remember speaking to you, Irina, and the master's wouldn't be a good fit. And yeah, unfortunately, we're not offering the master's degrees, just undergraduate degrees. And yeah, the certifications that we offer. So certifications are going to be fewer credits. Most of them are around 18 credits. So they're not quite the associate's degree level, and they're not quite the bachelor's degree. It takes around a year to complete most certifications, sometimes maybe more, sometimes less, depending on the certification. But that, particularly if you're interested in going into technology, and you're not interested in getting an associate's or bachelor's degree, or you already have one, that is a great way to add an additional credential onto your educational experience to launch you into that career field. So if you want to maybe looking for a career change in specifically technology and healthcare management, that's a great way to do it and not have to go through a full degree program. So that's what a certification is. It's just fewer credits and giving you an additional credential.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. Vanessa also did a workshop for us, and you can find that workshop on our YouTube channel that you can go in there and learn more in detail, because this program is also, this is the holistic approach to education. Talk about a support. There's even something about the food delivery. Is that still happening?
Yeah, we are still doing that.
I'm like, can I sign up just to get that taken care of? That would be great. But really, it is a wonderful approach to education. So please do reach out and take advantage of both of these, the holistic approach to work and the holistic approach to education. So thank you, Vanessa, for being with us again tonight.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Now, ladies, it is time for our announcements. All right. Okay. So the first announcement is our group meditation with Kelly and Sheila. Again, it will be happening on the first Thursday of the month, which is June 3rd, from 4:30 to 5:30. If you attend both, you get to receive 2 items of clothing. So it's 1 item for each segment. So if you just want to join in the yoga, or you want to just join in the meditation, you could do that as well. You don't have to do both. Okay. All right. We have a wonderful opportunity to do a Living Your Best Balanced Life with Nancy Anderson. I don't know about you, but I could definitely, this is something that is always applicable to me. I think it's really hard to get that work-life balance going. And so Nancy Anderson has committed herself to teaching us how to do that. And this is a series of 3 meetings. So we are asking that you commit to the best of your ability to take all 3 and not just one, because each one will build on the last one. So all meetings take place from 5:30 to 7 p.m. The first one is on June 16th, and then the following one won't be until July 14th. And that's because she wants to give you time to try and do some of the work that you did on that first meeting. And then on the 21st is the follow-up of that second meeting to see how things are working for you. So this is a great series to try and get your life in balance. Now, yes, I will send the link for this. If not tomorrow, the following day. So give me a couple of days to get things together. Okay, the ambassador applications. Now, ladies, I keep having conversations with all of you individually, and all of you are kind of telling me how you're really wanting to step out of your comfort zone, how you're wanting to be leaders in the community, how you're wanting to refine your public speaking skills. Ladies, this is the opportunity, and it is free. Now, the ambassadors, so Iman is one of our ambassadors, Irina, Kalindi, Kathy, who is on this call, and
Kara,
yes. So they're all our ambassadors, and what our ambassadors do, they're really the leaders of our PWG. They do a lot of work to put this PWG meeting together, but they also go out and represent Dress for Success Denver out in the community, which means you get to go to really cool places to talk about what we do. And you get to experience people that you haven't met. And some of these places are really fancy and you get to eat fancy food. And sometimes there's gifts involved and things, that are very special. Not to mention that the camaraderie that you experience with this group of ladies is beautiful. All of you get really close, really tight friendship group that develops, and it's very inclusive. And this is a safe place for you to try those leadership skills. If you're afraid of that public speaking, which most of us are, this is your opportunity to start going out of your comfort zone in a very loving, caring environment. Please do not miss your opportunity to apply for this program. You will also be more heavily considered as well to attend the yearly Success Summit that Worldwide puts on. And this is a 3-4 day cruise to the Caribbean where you're treated like royalty and you learn a lot of things, and it's just a fabulous experience. So please submit your application by May 31st so that you can be taken in consideration for this opportunity. Coupons. All right. So for attending tonight's meeting, you receive 3 items of clothing. And then the next opportunity will be the yoga and or meditation class. And you can redeem the coupons for both of these on June 17th from 4:30 until 8 p.m. There is no need to sign up. Just show up on that day. I will send you another email with some reminders in there as well. Okay. And our next one. Now, I know a lot of you ladies have small businesses. And so this is a great opportunity. If you have a small business and are looking to promote your business, possibly gain more business, we have an opportunity for you. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of this group, but this is a pretty powerful group. This is the Business Network International, and we are part of the local chapter here in Denver, and we are allowed to bring guests in. And so joining and becoming a member of BNI costs some money to do, but you can get one free meeting by coming through us. And even one meeting, you get an opportunity to do your commercial about yourself when you're in this meeting. So even one meeting can give you lots of referrals and business. So it's a great investment of your time if you have a small business. The meetings happen every Tuesday morning from 7:15 in the morning to 9 a.m. in the morning. I know that's real early, but that's also usually before we all have to go to work and do our business, right? So great opportunity. If you have a small business and would like to join one of these BNI meetings, please email Amra. Amra will be the one taking care of this. And her email is denver@dressforsuccess.org. All right, I think we're out of time, so we're not going to do any Q&A. Unless we do it, I'll stay on the air for a little bit. But this is if you want to go ahead and put it. So this is our closing. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you to our wonderful presenters that were with us today. And thank you for joining us and for being here, joining in the sisterhood. Ladies, we go forth with confidence, courage, and belief in ourselves. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.